Hello guys, my name is Amit Sani and I welcome you in this daily Hindu analysis video. 20th June it is, and all the things that we are covering here extremely important for the prelims and mains, both the stages. You see, as we explained the question paper for this year, then we came to know that many articles, many issues which appeared in the Hindu newspaper and in some the Wire print, the Indian Express newspapers, from there only they took things, because all things are important, but whichever is relevant, that is anyhow highlighted in those issues. So we have to listen to these things very carefully, and time is always a limit. In a limited time you need to gather more and more facts, so it is a kind of a hard work that you need to do here, and you need to understand things in a better way, in a fast way also, because everything is relatable with the time, because more time you have, more facts you can gather. But in that particular time there is a specific thing that digest those facts, and how you can digest in lesser time means you need to summarize issues, you need to make smaller points there. So that is the case, because I am explaining to you the articles, I am explaining to you the issues and all, but after the full clarification only you can summarize anything. So full clarification I'm giving to you, you can make your own very specific and small points, maybe some keywords, so that you can remember things about that. So you can do some things like write the main heading and write the keywords there. All other story that would be viewed by you, and that would not be a problem, but understanding is the basic thing here. Without understanding you cannot summarize the topic here. So that approach you need to develop here, and all these courses are there for help. 625 rupees per month only, very affordable one for all the people, and the best way to prepare. Sit at your home and all the videos are available, and anytime you can revise them. It is not like any offline class where you do not understand anything and you pay lakhs of rupees. So that's a kind of a very bad deal for the aspirants who are finding some financial problems. These are the numbers that you can call, and you can ask for these pendrive courses. Chat section is available on the website, and PDF I'm uploading here on the Facebook's group. The Telegram's link is also given here, and these are some words, you can use them and you can make your vocabulary very rich. Always take care of the grammar, tenses, and all these direct, indirect, passive, active voice, these issues also, so that in your presentation during the interview phase it would be very much beneficial. Otherwise not that perfection is needed from the exam point of view and language point of view. Next, what a 5 trillion economy would look like. You see, we will discuss two important articles today. Both are relatable, both are related to the economy, because after the elections, now in the first week of July, budget would be presented, and many issues are there relatable to the next goals, and most of them are based on our economic decisions. So that is why these articles are coming, very rich articles, very important articles. They are explaining to you some things, they are talking about some problems, and if we will solve the problems, then the solutions will be automatic here. Now this article is relatable to the GS paper 2, as how they will execute that, governance, management, design, infrastructure, all these issues. And GS paper 3, because it is the economy based article. $5 trillion economy, that the target we are making here till 2024. Modi ji has said that we should achieve this target. But you see, writer is somehow very harsh in this article against the government, because he is miffed with some things of the past. We had set some big targets in the manufacturing sector also. We made some big thresholds there, like we introduced Make in India. But you see, it is not only about announcing the goals, it is not only about setting the targets high, it is also about the execution and the achievement of them. What happened to those previous goals? Why in a 100% way we could not achieve the progress there? What was the problem? We are not addressing about that, and we are not addressing the concerned issues, and we are not discussing those achievements here. That's the problem. We announced Make in India with a much vigor, but what happened after that? Today we are not even talking about that. Same issue goes with the FDI issue. Now, first thing, if we set any big target, first thing, what do we need? We will need the actual information, where we are, what are problems, where we are standing, and what we need to achieve there. and till now what we have achieved. So right information, right statistics is the thing that is needed, and that only is in trouble today, because many suspicions are there even for the GDP numbers, like Arvind Subramaniam, like people who were very much integral to the system, they are raising some questions here. So that's why some quoting and misquotings are happening now. So official statistics, they need to be robust. First of all, they need to be reliable. Second thing, then we will talk about the design, funding and the governance. Whatever we want to achieve, whatever target we have set, whether we are making an expressway, whether we are making for a big infrastructure, particular building, then we would go for a design, then we will talk about the funding, then the execution of that or the governance of the issue. That is important. So these three basic pillars are there. On that, this goal would be achieved. Means $5 trillion economy is not a small thing, and within 5 years to achieve this target, it's a huge thing. And again, we need to talk about the issue of how we are going to implement that and what kind of $5 trillion economy it would be. Because if the same goes on and the inequality is there, and very few people, they are taking this economy to trillions of heights, and at the other side, all the people, they are grounded, they are not having anything to survive, very less services they are availing, education, health. You see the Bihar case we are watching here, because they cannot manage the issue, although the problem is very difficult. But the clear revelation that we lack facilities and no infrastructure is available to most of them. So that is the case. If this kind of development, this kind of economy we are gonna develop, then it would be a problem. So the design and governance issues are very important. Here they say the investment is the basic thing. Without investment, without funding, nothing is possible in economy. And to earn more money, we need to invest something. And private investment is stuck. All the governments, when UPA was there, then NDA came. They both set targets for this manufacturing sector, because that is the prime mover for the economies. If somebody wants to become the super developed country, then manufacturing sector is the biggest booster there. So 16% to 25%, that was the target made by both, but they could not help the investment issue. Corporate sector, which is Modi ji's favorite, and he believes that the corporate sector only can take our growth trajectory. So he tried a lot, but potential could not come there. And you see, more support was there with the corporate sector. If you compare it with the agricultural sector, if you compare it with the services sector, this sector got some relief in the terms of NPAs, some write-offs were there, and all these investment issues were there. ILFS was saved and all. So there was some help in comparison to others, not on the expected lines, but in comparison to others, some help was there. But the investment was blocked. That could not come. Then investment is a must thing. That should have come, whether it is coming from private sector or the government sector, but it should come. But both ways are blocked. So if both basic things are blocked and investment is not coming, how you can expect any economy to grow? And now we are towards a kind of a decline for the last 2 years, because FDIs, they are seeing a decline. Now our growth numbers, GDP numbers, even their official statistics, they are having problems. Automobile sales are at all-time low, and these kind of big challenges are there, and security challenges are going on by the side. So that's a different story. But everything needs investment, everything needs some kind of infrastructure there, and for that we need money. So many challenges. Here the writer is citing an example where before our independence, Finance Minister Shanmugam Sethi, he tried this particular attempt, and it can be said as the first attempt to make in India. They set a target of internal production, and they took it as the economic priority for this country. And even at that time where total exploitation was going on and no independence was there, Britishers were ruling us, even at that time they could gather some money as the public investment there, and they made this thing possible. So it was kind of a victory at that time. But now, taking from that legacy, till now we have not progressed in the moral terms, because the equality issue is totally missing. There is no equality of the opportunity, and a few people, they are enjoying the benefits of the bigger economy, and other people, they are just managing their lives. Most of them are poor people, and many of them, they are staying in the middle class, struggling with their lives, and every time they are fearing that some taxes would be rising, and some issues will be there, and the inflation and all these all things are haunting them. But the richer class, that is on a different page. So that is the case that equality in the opportunity, that is totally missing. And design and resources and the governance, these three things we need to think about very, very deeply. Then only we can have great solutions to take this country to $5 trillion economy. So it's not an impossible target, it's a possible target, but very harsh conditions are there, and total dedication and sacrifice is needed even from the political class. That's the case. And writer, as I told you, is miffed with all these problems. He says that whatever we had said, we missed to assess one important thing, that economy is growing, but what kind of impact is there on the average person's lives, because some indicators are there like health and education. How much change was there with the growing economy? That was the main problem. Today the economy must be evaluated in terms of how much it contributes to the ease of our living. Means ease of living means the basic facilities should be very much strong, like you are having electricity, you have drinking water, and you have education, health, all other services. And because you are paying taxes directly and indirectly in both the ways, then these things should be very nice with you. And you see, because the economy is growing, as they are saying that we have plus growth rates, so the impact should be there towards a positive side in health and education. But the problem is there, if we look at the condition of education, then the allocation in the budget, that is very less, and crisis like situation is there in the higher education sector. As we all know, in the primary sector the numbers are rising, but quality is the problem. Second, if we come towards higher education and colleges and universities, extremely bad situation is there, extremely bad, nobody can deny that. And infrastructural issues, funding issues, recruitment issues, and researchers labs and all these are mainly missing from the mainstream. If you talk about the states universities and all, leaving aside some important institutions like IIT, IIMs, ISS, leaving them aside, all others are struggling a lot. So this is the issue of education, and that is the condition when we are collecting cess both for primary and secondary and higher education. Cesses, we are collecting that, but we are not utilizing that. Next article talking about those cesses only. So that's a very important combination with this article. So education sector is broken down. And second, the health sector. In the Muzaffarpur issue that is going on, although the disease is very much dreaded, very much problematic in a sense, because the treatment is not that much easy, and that's why we are losing many lives. But you see, it is all not because of that disease, mainly it is because of the lesser facilities. The kids, they are lying on the floors, and no doctors, no experienced nurses are there to attend them. One junior nurse or one resident doctor, they are attending hundreds of patients. That's a problem. It's an emergency condition, and many doctors, they should be available, because it's a national crisis like situation today. So many kids, more than 110, they have lost their lives. So clear revelation of the infrastructural issues and less funds, less recruitments, that is all visible. Why that's happening? We are collecting cesses there, and the economy is growing, then these things should be very much robust. But that's the problem. That means that whatever targets we had set in the past, now we are looking at the problems. Now these things are all open. So that is the thing that we missed, and that we need to take care when we are evaluating the economy. Next thing is the equality of opportunity. As I told you, the issue of inequality, and no need to explain that. I have explained to you in much detail what is the problem. And if you want to see the impact on the poor's life, then I have given you a big explanation in the 5th June the Hindu analysis video. There I explained to you the nature conservation issues and the impact on the lives of the poor, and also everything I have explained in that particular video. Please watch that. Search for 5th June the Hindu analysis video, and you will find that. So India today more unequal than China, means the life of the poor person, that is devastated, because that person cannot afford. And whatever economy is growing, the growth is all relatable with the richer class. Very few people are there who are on a different page and they are enjoying their lives. All others, as I told you, they are stuck somewhere in their conditions, and poor, they are not able to afford, they are not able to avail basic drinking water, and they are not having a consistent electricity supply, and they are dependent on the welfare schemes always, and that's the issue. So in the inequality terms, we are a serious outlier. We are not performing any good, and we are performing very low in the United Nations World Happiness Report. That's a clear case. And if you talk about the reporting of these issues, then we are also lagging behind in the Press Information Freedom Index. So that is also troublesome. And about the gender inequality, no need to say. After independence also, we have been consistent troublemaker here, and we could not avail capabilities to the female section, and that is the reason that this patriarchy remains. And now the distortion is there that we are observing, rape cases and attack on females, and some section is there that is getting some opportunity here, but majority of them, they are facing a lot of problems, and most of them, they are not talking, they are not raising their concerns, they are not asking questions. So that's why we ignore the problem. But in actual sense, if we compare it with the male section, then they are very much sidelined. So it's a different kind of a weak group. So that's the case. And about the nature, as I told you, we have made many claims. Yesterday I talked about the Bond Challenge and the pledges that we had made, and we will bring our development reports. We had submitted our INDCs in various summit. So many claims we have done there, and some things which are good, we cannot also ignore that. Like we have done tremendously good in solar sector, wind sector, renewable energy sector, and we had made great targets there, but not on the expected lines we are achieving there. And most important thing, the inequality terms, where poor is actually taking all the burns here, and because he or she cannot afford, then all the negative consequences they are bearing there. If you talk about the waste management issues, both liquid and solid, and if you talk about the forest dwellers issues, if you talk about the air pollution problem, world's most polluted cities are there, and we made many claims, but still the condition is worsening there year by year. And like the situation of coastal regions, forest dwellers issues, their rights, mining areas, land degradation issues, the aquatic bodies and all their issues. So in all these senses, we are performing extremely bad. So on the ground, extremely bad situation, but tall claims are being made. So there is a mismatch. If you talk about the Ganga Yamuna cleaning, then we can see the actual report there. We can clearly see that with our eyes that how much water is clean, and the air pollution problems, that is also totally visible. So poor is living a troublesome life. Now what do we need today? Today the biggest need is that we are failing in many areas, but the biggest thing that is needed, that we need to take care about the rich person's life, how much damage it is doing to the poor person's life, so that somehow equality can be maintained there in some terms, because any improvement in the life of the majority would require a realignment of the growth process so that it is less damaging. That lines explain, these lines explain everything. More and more advantage is there for the richer class, more and more enjoyment is there for their lives, bigger damage is there for the poor. That's the case, clear case in India. Okay, so maybe we achieve less, maybe our growth rates are on a lower side, and maybe our economy would not achieve the 5 trillion economy badge till 2024. Maybe 2-3 years later we will achieve that, but that will not matter that much, as the lives of the poor that matter, and the equality issue that matters, and the basic issues like education, health, that matters. So that's the case, and here we need to work. Otherwise there is no meaning to get high numbers and having this much inequality, this much trouble with the average person's life, and lagging behind in the happiness indexes. That is not a balanced approach. Next article, important for GS paper 3, as it is talking about the taxes, cesses, and their unutilized funds, and where we are failing, what are our problems, how we can get the solution there. Forgotten funds. You see, cesses and taxes that we pay, direct and indirect taxes we pay, and on these taxes, suppose if you are paying 10% of tax, then cess is something that is specific, means it has a name. Maybe it's a education cess, it's a health cess, it's a Krishi Kalyan cess, it's a Swachh Bharat cess that would be taken on this 10%, means the tax that you are paying on this, maybe 3%, 4%, 2%, that much cess would be there, and that would be specific, and it will go to the central government. This will not be extended to the state governments. That's the clarity. And these all means the taxes and the cesses both will be going towards Consolidated Fund of India. According to Article 266, there is Consolidated Fund of India. 67 Contingency Fund of India is there. So if we want to take money from CFI, then we need to bring appropriation bill, and then voting would be there, and then only we can take funds from CFI. So that's the case. So these all things are going to CFI. But if we need to utilize the cesses fund, then we need to create a kind of a particular fund for that, specific fund for that, like the Prathmik Shiksha fund is there, and the higher education fund is also there. So that we need to create in the CFI, and then we can utilize that. But the shocking detail this article reveals here. First, it starts about that when we need to present all our data regarding the taxes, regarding our earnings and something like that, then government is demanding everything from our side, Aadhaar number, PAN number, everything. But government does not want to give any information to us. The same applies to the government also. It is the time when we are filing for the taxes returns and all these things, and these cesses that the central government collects, there is no information regarding that, and these are unutilized. Cess is levied on the tax payable and not on the taxable income. Okay, so unlike a tax, cess is levied to meet a specific purpose. Its proceeds cannot be spent on any kind of government expenditure. Tax proceeds, what is given to the government, then they will go for this budget and the expenditures on health, infrastructure, education and everything. But these cesses, these are specific ones. They are taken for a specific purpose. Like on motor vehicles, we are collecting infrastructure cess, so it is going to central government. Clean environment cess going to central government. Krishi Kalyan cess for the improvement of the agriculture and the welfare of the farmers. But how much welfare is happening, that we all know. Education cess they are taking, but what is the condition of the education? That is totally visible. So these are specific funds which are created, and you see, annually CFI details are published in the union budget documents, and auditor and all they will assess all these data and all. So we need all the information, but when we got the right information, that is the primary thing. And that's why in the last article writer was saying that first of all we need statistics. So when the proper statistics are available to us regarding these cesses, then we came to know that 4,25,000 rupees they are lying with the central government in the CFI, and there is no appropriation there. There is no utilization of those funds. 4,25,000 crore rupees and 4,25,000 plus rupees they are lying unutilized there. And these all areas they are crying for funds. No support is there, and they are crying that give some funds to us. But you see the conditions, you see the apathy, you see the level of governance there. They talk about all the claims, but the condition is such. And you see, this is very much important to bring those cesses, because these are having some qualities, some features, like they are easy to introduce. Taxes are not easy to introduce, and once they are introduced, it is very much difficult to abolish them. So cesses are easy to introduce, modify, and easy to abolish. And if you talk about the education cess, 2% was started in 2004 when all these right to education and all these were started. So implementing right to education and everything, we brought this cess. So in 2007, 1% additional was taken for the secondary and higher education cess. And in 2019, recently, government introduced a new 4% health and education cess. That is covering the previous 3% and additional 1% to provide health for rural families. So 4% cess you will pay now. 4%, highest one. So if the accountability is not there, if the questions are not raised, then who is going to tell you that how much fund is utilized, how they are utilizing it, and in which way they are making plans, in which way they are expending this particular money. So this all information is needed, and then the scrutiny is invited. But information is a big trouble, and if the 4,25,800 crore rupees they are unutilized till 2019, since 2004, then what is the need to introduce this much big cess, and what is the meaning of putting pressure on the common man's life? But that's happening. Prarambhik Shiksha course, after 2004 when this cess was introduced, in 2005 this fund was created, and you see Madhyamik and Uchtar Shiksha course, out of that secondary education and higher education cess, after 10 years they actually established this Uchtar Shiksha course. Means for 10 years they were just collecting, they were not spending anything, they were just collecting, they not even bothered to set up the course for that or the fund for that. When it is created, then only you can utilize the money from that. So for 10 years no activity, just collecting, and still it is going dormant, no utilization from this particular fund. And higher education, universities, colleges, they are crying for help. They do not have funds, they are not able to bring those recruitments and all. So that's the case. So CAG reports are also telling about that. And then only when these repeated Lok Sabha queries were there, and many times people asked these things in the RTIs and all, in newspaper articles, so these things were criticizing the government, then only they set up this particular fund. So this is the condition of the governance, this is the condition of their apathy, this is the condition of their sincerity towards the governance, towards the normal public. So this raises many questions, and these revelations are shocking. Now these are the problems. If these things are solved as earliest as possible, then these will turn into solutions. So that's the case. And here the writer is concluding the issue that since SS is introduced with a specific purpose, as they always are introduced for a specific purpose, they have a name, so it's completely unjustified when the proceeds remain unutilized for so many years. Means 15 years are gone, but no utilization. So what is their intention? We need to ask the question. And so if we need solutions, if we want to take this economy to the $5 trillion economy till 2024 and $10 trillion economy till 2030, then we need to solve all those issues. And this political apathy is extremely problematic. That's the case. And I have given you one mains answer writing question here. You can write that. And next fact or the article is regarding the government's notification. They say that you won't allow FDI in multi-brand retails. You see, this is the retail store where consumers go and they buy things, and multiple brands are available there, multiple products are available there. This is a physical one. The same goes with the online stores like Flipkart and all, and they are B2B businesses, and multiple brands are there. But you see, there's a difference. That's an online business and B2B business, and this is the physical store. Here, multi-brand retail stores, their FDI is not allowed, and they say we will not allow because the small shopkeepers, they are devastated when these things are introduced, and they are already going under a lot of stress, and their businesses are all going through a very much a lull phase, a destroying phase when these e-commerce came. So they are complaining, and they are crores in numbers. So it's a big political pressure on the government also. And they say single brand outlets, there the FDI is allowed, there is no problem. If they want to sell their own products, then it is all their image and it is all their standards. But in the multiple stores, retail stores mainly, this thing would not be allowed because it will be devastating for the small shopkeepers. And they talk about the mudra loans and all these issues. These are all relatable with the small shopkeepers. And if they face any trouble, then if they get these loans, 4-5 lakh rupees they are getting, and they are establishing a particular shop, then how it is going to run? If they will allow these FDI in the multiple brand retail stores. So that's the case, because the people who will be investing, like the big giants like Walmart and all, who had bought Flipkart some days ago, so they have higher capacities, they have enormous investment capacity, they can easily bring their the investment there, and they will buy everything. So they will establish their stores in every street. So who is going to go to these small stores? Because lesser prices will be there in these multiple brand stores, because they can give them, more people are coming there, AC stores are there, people are easily buying things, and more things they will buy there in comparison to those small shops and all. And they will have major facilities there, and multiple offers are also available, so they will certainly go there. Why they will go to that small store? So that's the case, and that's why it is not going to be allowed very soon, although it's a favorable thing for the consumers, but it is devastating for small shopkeepers. They are huge in numbers, so that's the case. Next issue is regarding the carbon quantum dots. Very important one, because here they are using a thing that is dirty coal, okay, and they are creating biomedical dots. How they are going to be used? They are going to be used in detection of the cancer cells. You see, cancer has multiple stages. Primary stage, and it's a benign tumor. When it spreads to the other body parts, then it's a metastasis. Why that happens? Because after some time, the nerves and the blood vesicles, they will enter into that particular node or some kind of flesh there, and these cells will be spreading to all other bodies. So we need some biomarkers, medical dots, so that we can recognize the cancer cells, that these are the cancer cells, these are found here, and we need to remove them, otherwise they will infect the other body parts. So these are biomedical dots, and now these are going to be created by high sulfur coals. So that's the revolution like step, and it will be cheaper because we are creating that out of nothing, out of these high sulfur coals. So CQDs, they may ask you about that. What are CQDs recently discovered? These are carbon quantum dots. Okay, Japan and USLI countries, they are making these CQDs, but they are very much expensive, and here in India it will be of 1/20th of their prices. So that's a cheaper way. Okay, and carbon quantum dot CQDs. So that is all for today, and we will meet again with the important articles and facts. Today we didn't have many facts in the newspaper. Many things were unnecessary. So thanks a lot. Keep watching.